In this next chapter of the training series, we're going to move on to look at the students section and some of the key ways in which you can manage and communicate with your students within the locker. So let's go across to the students section here in the header. And this is your student area homepage, and it will list all of the students that are associated with your coach account. These could have been students from a store purchase, a one-to-one lesson booking, or a class. So we have at the top here the upcoming lessons and previous lessons. You will mainly use this feature relating to lesson media, which we'll cover in a future chapter. If we navigate now down to the All Students section, at the top here we have some ways for you to find students and filter them in categories. So you can search for a student, you can add a student, and you can also search by categories for students. We have total students, one-to-one students, and group program students, or students who have participated in classes. We now have a list of students in front of us that will appear in a list view. We have the student name, handicap, group, and status. Status indicates whether that student has actively had a lesson or a class in the last 3 months. Keeping on top of your active and non-active students is a really useful way to making sure that you keep students booked into the diary, and you can keep your capacity and your lesson income numbers as high as possible. Let's go ahead and click on one of the students. We're now in the student profile section. This is an area that the student themselves has access to within their locker, and you as a coach can also edit. Let's look at a couple of the key areas within this section that you may want to get comfortable with. Firstly, you have a View Personal Details button, and this is a really useful way of you getting key information relating to that student, such as contact information, medical history, or injuries. You're also able to edit their full profile. It's within this section that your student can edit their profile prior to a lesson or after a lesson, or you as a coach could complete this with them on a consultation lesson. And it allows you to complete personal details, a player profile, and a medical profile. Within this section you also have 3 buttons, which are really useful functionality to use with a student. You have the option to book a lesson directly from this area. By clicking this option, it will go through to the booking system, and you can follow the same journey as we've covered previously, and it will fill in the necessary information at checkout for you to complete the booking. You're also able to recommend a customer a lesson. So potentially you have a specific lesson that you feel will be suitable to a customer, or you may have a class that you're running that you feel they may benefit from. By clicking recommend a lesson, the customer will receive a message that would look like this. And it will list the recommended lesson that you have sent them. The final piece of functionality within this section that you want to be using is the send message function. And within the send message functionality, you're able to send a message directly to that student's email address. And they can either communicate back to you via email or through the locker. And you can send them a message and a subject. And it will look something like this. Some of the other areas that you want to be using within this section are the previous lesson history and upcoming lessons, which will be listed in here. If you want to view a history of lessons that a customer has taken or lessons they have in the future, then this is a really useful way to do this. The final sections in here are where you're able to add pupil goals, and you're also able to use the skill creation section. And your customers and you can effectively rank your customers' skills out of 10 and provides a benchmark or a skills assessment for you to use in building a long-term relationship with your customer. This section will be covered more in one of our featured videos by our team. Let's go back to the student list. The next areas that you want to be using to manage and communicate with your students is the GDPR Preferences section. If we go ahead and choose Coach Admin and choose Student GDPR, it's within this section that you will have a list of your customers, and it will tell you their GDPR preferences, which relates to data protection and how they want their data to be used. It's within this section that you can see whether they've agreed to the terms and conditions of your Academy's website and locker, whether they've agreed to receive email marketing, whether they've agreed to receive SMS marketing, and the date that this was completed. It's really important that you abide by these agreements. And just remember that if someone has agreed to receive email marketing or SMS marketing, they may have only agreed to receive this information from your Academy. They may not have agreed to receive this from you directly. You can consult with First Degree Golf Solutions team on further information relating to GDPR. Let's go back now to the My Locker area. The next section that we want to be getting used to using is the Vouchers section. It's within the Vouchers section that you're going to be able to see a list of vouchers and packages that your customers may have on account with you. Within this Coach Vouchers section, you will only see vouchers that are associated to you as a coach. So these will be ones that have been purchased through the store by a customer, or you have processed through the store, that are assigned to you, or have a same for all category. We cover this more in the store section. We can see within this section that we have a list of customers who have vouchers or packages associated with us. We're able to search for these customers or view them in a list. And we can see here that we have the type, the player name, email, contact information, the name of that lesson, importantly the purchase date, which may be important if you are having an expiry date to lessons, the relevant PIN number that will associate it to the booking system, the program type, duration, and then finally the count and balance. Count relates to the original amount of credits purchased or added to the locker, and the balance relates to the current balance of credits or vouchers on that pupil's account. So if you're selling packages of lessons through your store, you may have originally sold a count of 180, but a customer might have redeemed a 30-minute lesson, which means in the balance section it will show 150. Let's go back to the My Locker area. And the final section that we're going to cover in a later chapter is the messaging section. It's within the messaging section that you can communicate with specific students or groups of students, and it's a really useful way of engaging with your students and letting them know the great programs that you're offering. Finally, in the dashboard homepage or the My Locker homepage, you also have a total list of students, one-to-one students, group programs, and the ability to add a student through this area.